Tonight, old fridges, overgrown weeds, rubbish everywhere. While a local's not happy with the state of this hoarder home. And opening the doors for new recruits. Port Augusta SES crews calling for more volunteers to help save lives.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. In a case of the neighbour from hell, Whyalla Stuart residents are fed up with a property that they say is more overgrown than the Amazon rainforest. Tired of looking out their window to see piles of rubbish and more vandalism each day, the neighbours are now calling out for help.
An unruly jungle in an otherwise well-kept neighbourhood. In Whyalla Stuart, neighbours are furious over the neglect shown to a property on their street. Trees and bushes have been left to engulf the structure, the fences falling down, and a mountain of rubbish now covers the backyard.
No, it's not on. Something has to be done about it. It's just unreal.
Like the case of Jekyll and Hyde, one can just look at the semi-detached property's other half to reveal what the home should look like. But instead, the home has been left to fester and become a health concern for other residents on the street.
That's a real credit to whoever done that place up there. But this, you couldn't let anybody live in there, honestly.
Neighbours say something must be done to clean up the mess that allegedly attracts rodents and devalues the look of their street.
The yard, well, to me, it looked like they'd emptied the sewer out on the backyard a couple of times, and then just threw everything out the back door.
Whether it's Housing SA, the private owner or the council, neighbours are calling on somebody to step up and bring the property back to a manageable state.
These are good people, they are, and they look across here and shake their head and say it's a disgrace, somebody should be done about it.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police have arrested a woman following investigations into a house fire that took hold in Whyalla Playford. Around 8:50 on Tuesday, police and fire crews were called to a Peter Street address after reports of smoke billowing from the home. Crews quickly extinguished the blaze and confirmed no one was inside the property. Upon locating the homeowner, police then escorted the 54-year-old woman to the Whyalla Hospital for assessment. The woman has since been arrested and charged with alleged arson. The State Emergency Service is calling for more people to join up and help save lives. In Port Augusta, an open night was held for the public to come and see firsthand just how rewarding being part of the SES can be.
Port Augusta's SES unit has begun a major recruitment drive, and it's working. Earlier this week, several new faces turned up at their base and signed on.
Look, it's great to see a good half dozen people come down for the open night tonight and learn a little bit about what we do, and some have already filled out some membership paperwork, which is fantastic.
Senior SES figures discussed the variety of pathways new recruits could travel on and the ability to learn new skills or utilise current ones.
From vertical rescue, road crash rescue, general rescue, storm and flood, marine, incident management, incident support, operational support. Yeah, there's a lot to offer for the individual.
Visitors were shown around the facilities and the equipment on display, including a rescue stretcher complete with hoists and the new tools being used for operations. The SES are always looking for new recruits, as they are sometimes stretched thin with major operations.
For us, recruiting is a constant effort, because we understand that people have lives and many hands make light work, so it's great for locals to support their own communities.
Your act could save lives. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Broken Hill Breast Cancer Support Group is looking to finish the month off strong, with the final fundraiser to be held tomorrow night. It's been a good month for the group, with the community getting right behind the cause.
After painting the town pink, the group is excited for one of their bigger fundraisers. But they are also thankful for the support that has been shown so far.
We've decorated the town and painted the town pink, and of course they've purchased our pink polo shirts, and everybody's been very, very generous throughout the month.
This year things kicked off a little early, with a special screening of Grease in honour of the movie's star, Olivia Newton-John, who passed away in August after a long battle with breast cancer. The event was held at the Silver City Cinema and proved to be quite successful.
It was just marvellous. We had 120 people attend. So again, a great response, really, really good. So we were able to sell some of our merchandise as well.
Tomorrow night, the ladies will be having their end-of-month fundraiser at the Silver City Working Men's Club, which gets underway at 5 p.m.
We have our final big fundraiser, so we have an auction of paintings, we have some raffles, we've got some lollies for the men to auction off as well.
The shop front that is located at the Westside Plaza has closed down, but there are still ways that you can support the group.
It's still available, so if they'd like to contact us on our Facebook site, which is Broken Hill Breast Cancer Support Group, leave us a message. We do deliver and we can drop it in to you.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
In Corn, Centrecare held a workshop for community members and members of the public to become more suicide alert. The Safe Talk seminar showed skills and understanding for attendees on how to spot people who may be suffering from difficult situations and how to help by putting them in touch with the proper resources, people and organisations that can offer qualified assistance and treatment. Safe Talk has been in operation since 2006 globally, and similar workshops have already been conducted in Ceduna, Orroroo and Tumby Bay. And if you or anyone you know is experiencing distress, there are resources available. Call Lifeline on 13 11 14, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Still to come tonight, no ordinary upgrade. Brand new barbecues installed at multiple locations across Whyalla. And meet the Wallaroo-based author touring the regions with her new book. Welcome back. The New South Wales State Government is investing in housing in regional areas in an attempt to lure teachers to the bush. It was announced yesterday that an additional $23.5 million has been provided on top of the $174 million that was announced as part of the 2022-2023 budget for key worker housing. Teacher housing improvements will include over $12 million in funding for renovations to approximately 50 teacher housing authority managed properties. Around 100 teacher houses will have new heating and cooling installed, worth $2 million, and $800,000 is being invested in increasing the housing supply. Whyalla residents, it's time to pack a picnic basket and head down to the foreshore, with brand new barbecues now up and running. The Whyalla Council using a break in the stormy weather to unpack and position the new stainless steel cooking stations.
Prepare to grill up a storm. Brand new dual-plated barbecues have been installed around Whyalla.
So here today we have 3 new barbecues being installed around the foreshore area, 2 on the beachfront and 1 in Aileron Gardens.
The new barbecues improve upon their predecessors, having a larger bench space for preparation, being lower to the ground and having enough space under the bench to be accessed by wheelchair users.
These new barbecues we have here are from a company called Greenplate. They're DDA compliant, so disability compliant. They're also the table size is much larger than the previous ones.
The more accessible barbecues are a welcome sight for local disability welfare groups, but also avid chefs who are getting tired of cooking on the ageing facilities that were here prior.
Especially down at the foreshore here, they do get quite weathered, and the residents have been asking for new barbecues and facilities for quite a while now, so it's a great achievement to have these new barbecues installed today.
All 3 of the new barbecues are operational right now, with the council expecting them to become the site of many more family gatherings and important beachside birthday parties.
So anytime as of this weekend, they're all good to go.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Author Tricia Stringer was in Broken Hill last night to promote her new book, Keeping Up Appearances. The writer is coming to the end of her book tour, with only a few more places to visit.
It was a year in the making, but Tricia Stringer is out on the road to promote the new book, and she is enjoying every second of it.
Spent a year writing the story, and so it's always good when it gets to the point where it's out and I can talk to readers about it.
One of the best things about going on tour is interacting with real people, as she spends most of her time with the characters in her books.
It is always nice to talk to the real people, and especially now after we haven't been able to travel much the last couple of years. So I'm actually going over the border and getting to meet people further afield, which is nice.
Previously a teacher, Mrs. Stringer self-published her early works, as it was tricky trying to find that balance between work and writing. She would eventually sign a deal to become a full-time writer.
Teaching life is pretty full on, so I would be just taking bits very early mornings, late at night, that sort of thing, and the odd bit of weekend and school holiday just to try and fit it in.
The next stop on the tour is Mildura and then Renmark, before heading home to Wallaroo. You can find Keeping Up appearances at all good bookstores and online outlets. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Overcoming illness and still kicking goals. South Augusta Footy Club wraps up the season with an awards night and changes to Port Pirie's Christmas tree decorating competition. Welcome back. This next story is for our viewers in Port Pirie. If there's an individual or an event you think deserves recognition, now is your chance to get your nominations in for Citizen of the Year. Each year, Port Pirie celebrates those who have made a positive impact on the community. The award categories also include Young Citizen of the Year and Community Event of the Year. Nominations close on November 25 and you can do so online. South Augusta Football Club's presentation night has wrapped up the 2022 season for all of our local clubs. Players like Kristen Thompson were given the Bulldogs' highest accolades, as plans for next year are already underway.
The final Port Augusta Footy Club to hold their presentation night was South Augusta. A festive atmosphere with good food and a steady stream of acknowledgements and awards for players, volunteers and management. Under 18's Heath Green overcame severe illness last year to claim not one but 2 awards at the club's Night of Nights.
Considering last season I couldn't actually play from an illness and I've come back to be able to claim this one here, I'm pretty wrapped with that. I've just actually sent a message off to my trainer and I'm sure she's going to be over the moon down in Adelaide when she hears about it.
B Grade's Colin McMillan was at a loss for words for his trophies when approached for comment.
Top of the world right now, eh? I can't express the way I feel, eh?
And Kristen Thompson remained humble after winning the A-grade Best and Fairest and Most Consistent Player.
The individual accolades are a nice touch, but as a footy player, we play footy for team success. So, in a perfect world, we win a grand final this year, but that wasn't to be. So, it's always good to celebrate the year, though, regardless.
Now all clubs are preparing for 2023, and each one wants the Premiership trophy in their hands. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
As Christmas fast approaches, Port Pirie residents have annual traditions to look forward to, one of them being the Christmas Tree Festival. If you love Christmas and have a creative flair, this is the event for you. You can now enter a decorated tree, parcel, wreath or a table setting. The possibilities are endless. You can enter as an individual or as a group, like a kindergarten class or another type of school group. A fun activity everyone will enjoy taking part in, and it raises money for the Uniting Church. Entries close 21st of November. Stay with us after the break. Squid, snook, salmon, crab, plenty of sea life biting around the Gulf. Stay tuned for Fish and Tips next. And as always, we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. Well, we haven't managed to round up the whole Fish and Tips crew today, but that hasn't stopped us before. Aaron Morgan has the latest from the waters around Port Augusta.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta at Jeweller North. Well, that season or changeover season is really hanging out at the moment. It's a real fisherman's basket still out there. You'd expect the King George whiting to start to be thinning out, but they're actually coming up to around Leady Spit Stick and the bottom end of the flinders, and also up into the oyster run as well. You'll expect the salmon to come on the bite up around those creeks after had a few rains and that, and there are some big kingfish chasing those salmon. So around the old powerhouse site, the crossover railway bridge at the top of the Gulf, and around the old oyster run as well. A few crabs, not a real lot to talk about there, but there's also been some squid getting caught by the guys after the kingfish, and also the odd snook getting caught from those people chasing salmon as well. That's all we have from the Jeweller North.
Hi, whalers fishing tips this week off the local jetty. A few crabs starting to come in. There's also been some squid coming late in the evenings. The local foreshore holding a few silver whiting and a few mullet. A little bit further south down towards Cowlitz Landing, there's been a few nice silvers coming in from there too. Over towards Point Lowly and Black Point, still a few nice salmon schools holding up there, and the odd yellow-tailed kingfish starting to show as well. For the boat anglers, a few nice King George whiting coming in out front of town. A little bit further towards south has been the key. There has been some early signs of yellow-tailed kingfish, but no captures as yet.
Can't go wrong with those tips. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, how was today?
Good evening, Maddie. Well, today was all right. Not much to report, to be honest, but isn't that nice every now and then? In terms of rain, there wasn't much. A drop or two fell at Kadina, Cleve and Streaky Bay, but none in our major centres. Temperature-wise, a touch under 25 degrees in Port Augusta, humidity in the 30s during the afternoon. Elsewhere, Port Lincoln reached 20 degrees, around 220, 17 degrees, the top in Clare. Looking more broadly at today's weather map, just as warm in Cooper Pedy as it was in Port Augusta, 25 degrees, 23 degrees in Whyalla. Woodner reached 22, 21 in Port Pirie and Broken Hill. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a complex low pressure system centred near Tasmania will move southeastwards over the next couple of days. A high pressure ridge over the west of the state will move eastwards and weaken ahead of another trough and low pressure system over the weekend. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Westerly winds between 15 and 20 knots, turning southwesterly in the morning. Seas between 1 and 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swell below a metre, increasing to 1.5. Partly cloudy in Port Lincoln tomorrow between 10 and 19 degrees, partly cloudy in Cleve as well, set to reach a high of 20 degrees there. 23 degrees in Woodner, down to 9 degrees overnight. Blue skies in Whyalla tomorrow, heading for a top of 21 degrees, mostly sunny in Port Augusta, 23 there. Cloud clearing around Kadina, set to reach a high of 20 after an overnight low of 10 degrees. Port Pirie 21 tomorrow, clouds clearing, partly cloudy in Clare 17, and a mostly sunny 21 degrees in Broken Hill. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Saturday's outlook. Showers and a possible storm in Cooper Pedy, up to 15 millimetres will fall. Showers in Port Augusta, 23 degrees there, 25 in Woodner. Partly cloudy, 21 in Whyalla and Broken Hill. 19 is set to be the top in Port Lincoln and Adelaide. Moving on to Sunday's forecast now, and it will be a stormy one. Possible thunderstorms everywhere except for Cooper Pedy and Port Lincoln. Temperatures between 25 and 33 degrees. And finally, taking our first look at the start of the working week, which happens to be Halloween. A shower or two and 23 degrees in Broken Hill. Not exactly the ideal conditions for trick-or-treating. Showers across the Spencer Gulf townships as well. Windy up in Cooper Pedy. Just 16 degrees to the top in Port Lincoln. Just quickly, Maddie, for our viewers in Wilcannia, the latest from the Weather Bureau is that the Darling River is still rising and currently at a height of 9 metres and 99 centimetres. Be careful if you are in the area, and remember, do not drive through floodwaters. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you later with an update. It's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.